Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today I'm going to show you how to set up the Thinkorswim platform to effectively and efficiently trade options. Um, just open up Thinkorswim. Okay, so even before you log in, you need to go down here to the settings. Um, this is your minimum and maximum RAM usage you're allocating to the program. I suggest it's going to vary depending on how much your available RAM is in your system. I'm running 64 gigabytes, so I'm going to set the minimum for 8 gigabytes and the maximum just mid-range here at 24 gigabytes. The reason that we want to do this is because a large majority of what we will be doing when we are trading options is watching. So the computer system is going to think that, hey, this program is running idle, so we're not going to allocate any memory to it. And we want it primed, and think of it like a car. We want it bouncing off the rev limiter, ready to go when we drop that clutch. So we do not want it to be idle. Okay, when you open it up, you should go to the home screen. Should look something kind of like this. And I know it's a little off screen, but at the very top on the right hand side, there is a setup tab, and click the setup, application settings. Okay, we'll go down to active trader. I cannot remember what these are set at by default, but we want to make sure that this is 0 milliseconds, and the auto center of the active trader price ladder every 3 seconds. And then down to system, quote speed, real time, no delay. Now if you go back up here to the top, over to hotkeys, it's not going to hurt anything if you go ahead and enable active trader hotkeys. We can go over that some other time. I have them enabled on mine just for ease of use sometimes. Not that a mouse click isn't quick, but sometimes the hotkeys are helpful. Apply settings. All right, now if we go over here to trade, we'll just clear all this off. Again, I cannot remember what this looks like at default. I think there's 2 window panes here. What we're going to be doing, you can select how many windows that you would like within Thinkorswim. You can have this many if you would like, all the way up to this many. We're going to be working off 3. So, and what this is going to be your calls. Excuse me, your calls. This is going to be your puts, and this is going to be your chart. All right, and we were going to be working off of the SPY. Just delete all this stuff out of here for now. All right, so if you click on the trade tab and all products, I don't know, it already says SPY, but you type in SPY, and you get all of the options contracts from now until December the 18th, 2026. Since we are going to be scalping or day trading, I'm only concerned with what's going to expire today. This is right here. So it is May the 3rd. And if you look right here, this is how many days to expiration. So 0 days to expiration. It expires today. If you go over here, I could have a whole video on the Greeks on options. and being in the money and out of the money. But basically we want just to be just out of the money. They're the most volatile and the best to be scalped. So just out of the money is going to be the non-highlighted right here, the non-highlighted right here. These are your calls. These are your puts. So we're going to right click, go down here to copy, go back to active trader, and we are going to paste, enter, and then click active trader tab here on the right, and there is your calls. Now once you get familiar with this, you'll notice that it is period, all right, then the stock, the year 24, the month and the day 0503, call at a 512 strike price. Okay, let me go back here real quick. This is your strike price. Okay, this is basically what you think that the stock is going to go to. Okay, that's the best way to explain it with what we're doing anyway. Alright, so let's go back to active trader. So in here I could go back, right click, copy and paste, or I could paste the same thing again, Control V. And that's another thing, if you do set up your hotkeys, be sure to set them up to things that you don't use, like Control A, Control V, Control Z, stuff like that. Copy and Control C, copy and paste and select all and stuff like that. Things that you would normally use, because you don't want to accidentally be triggering something in Thinkorswim when you don't want to be. Alright, so here we've got, we copied the exact same thing. So we're going to change the C to a P. And if you remember, if you look back over here, the strike price for the call that we copied was 512. Just out of the money is 511. Okay, so that means that SPY right now is between $511 and $512. All right, so we're going to go for 511. So if we go back to active trader, we can just change that C to a P and change that from 512 to 511. And there are your puts. Type in SPY, turn off active trader, turn on chart. That's very strange. There we go. That looks better. By default, I think it should look something like this right here. And we're going to set that up so it looks like this, or at least similar. Alright, let's work on the chart first. First, we're going to change it. By default, it's going to be on 1 year, 1 day. I mean, each one of these candles is representing 1 day of trading. We're going to be working off a much shorter time frame. So 1 day, 1 minute. Okay, so each one of these candles represents a minute. What I do is, if you push down the mouse wheel or the third mouse button, however you want to say it, change here to pan, then you can click and drag, and then control and the mouse wheel does the zooming. Okay. And this is after hours, by the way, that I'm doing this video, so there's not going to be any active options trading. But you can see how zooming in and out affects the chart. Alright, we're going to add a couple of indicators to this. If you right click, go down to studies, add study. A lot of these are repeating in here. These aren't all individual studies. Upper studies are studies that are going to be in where the candles are. Lower studies are going to be in their own pane below the candles. Upper studies, we're going to put things like momentum, or we can put things like momentum. We can put things, moving averages, which let's put a moving average. Let's do a TEMA. All right, right click, studies, add study, upper studies. VWAP. For some reason, well, I know the reason, but this is your VWAP right here. This is an upper band and a lower band. I think that's just too much. If you right click on any indicator that you've got, you get an option to edit or remove. I'm going to edit this study. Again, there's the VWAP. I'm going to change it to yellow. The upper band, I'm going to unclick the show plot, show bubble, and show title. And same for the lower band. Just going to make them go away. Apply. Okay. All right. Right click again. Studies. Add study. Lower popular. MACD 2 lines is really good. All right, right click studies. Add study. Lower studies popular. TTM squeeze is really good. Now I can't just add these blindly without explaining them in a little bit. I'm not going to go into detail explaining all the indicators and everything like that. I mean, if we wanted to have an indicator video, I can do that too. I use TradingView. I've got 10 indicators running at all times. Some people think that may be a little too much. Some of the indicators represent the same things, but they're set at different time frames, and it works for me. So you just have to learn and educate yourself. I mean, could I do this with a lot less indicators? Yes, probably. But my brain likes the colors. I know that sounds funny, but if something is all green across the board, if I've got green, 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 green on all 10 of my indicators, like right here, would I feel confident going in? Absolutely. And then when one thing turns red, like if you look up here, this turns red. Okay, this right here, the buy and sell pressure starts turning negative. It's time to get out. So I would get out here, and it would save my ass from this right here. So it works for me. So just educate yourself and set things up to where you're comfortable as far as indicators go. With that said, we'll talk about, I guess the most convoluted one would be the TTM squeeze. Just a quick overview. It is a study of two studies, the Bollinger Bands and the Kettler channels. It's the relation between the two of those. Okay, it's showing volatility and movement. But when reading this, you're looking for a green dot. Okay. If it's red, it says that a trade is not suggested, and I found that to be the case most of the time. But if you have a green dot and a light blue, okay, that means that it could be safe to enter a long position. If you have a green dot and a red bar, it could be safe to enter a short position. Okay, and since what we're doing is calls and puts, you'd be entering a call on light blue and a put on the red. If the dots turn from green to red, it is advised that you get out of the trade. And if we change color on the second bar, if you have two of the, so if we go yellow twice, it's wanting you to get out on that second yellow. That's how the TTM squeeze was designed. Again, it may take some tweaking and some setting up and some education because I believe that it's set up for the 4-hour time frame. At least that's where it's optimized at. Does it work on the 1-minute time frame? Yes, it does. But it works better on the higher time frames unless you change some things. So just educate yourself, spend some time on it. I'm not going to go into MACD because we've got other things to set up and I don't want this to be a hour-long video. But basically you've got a baseline. And you're looking for the blue to be on top of the white. And if this was mine, I would definitely thicken up those lines a little bit and change the colors around and everything. But TD Ameritrade, or I'm sorry, Charles Schwab, Thinkorswim, they have an education tab up here, and you can learn about each and every one of these indicators in pretty good depth. Okay. Now we're going to set up these buttons here. Okay, so we click on settings, and if you notice it says first line and second line. If you click this little arrow right here, it brings up the second line. So this is your first line, this is your second line. Okay. All right, we are going to remove, cancel, ... reverse, and flatten. We're going to add buy ask, cancel all, flatten now, sell bid. Then we just move them up to where we want them. I know they don't match, but that looks better to me. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we are going to set up a template. So if you click here where it says template single, okay, well, before I cross that, this is your quantity. I think it's listed as quantity with buttons. Yeah, quantity with buttons. So if you bought one contract, you're actually buying 100 contracts. Okay, so if you went in and let's say on average trading, let's say we're at $1. One contract is not $1. Okay, one contract would be $100. Okay, so if you think that you want to buy 100 contracts, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. You don't want to put 100 here unless you're wanting to buy $100,000 worth of contracts. Okay, so everything is times 100. That's the reason these buttons here aren't extremely. It doesn't go into. They don't have 50s, hundreds, 200, 500, 1,000 like I would have set up on regular stock trading. And again, those can be changed in setup, application settings, order defaults, I believe. Yeah. So you can change what those buttons say. For all intents and purposes, we're just going to put them on 10. And we're going to click on template. We're going to click trigger with brackets. Trying to mirror this on both sides. Whatever your quantity is will be reflected here. So if it changes, it changes. You see? We're going to change this to a percentage instead of a monetary value. And let's make it I think for training purposes, 20 and 10. So negative 10, positive 20. Now, and then you can save that and name it whatever you want, and then it'll be available here in the drop down. So what that does is if I enter a trade, I hit buy market or buy ask, wherever that may be at, that's going to put me in buying 10 contracts, 10 100 contracts right here at 16. If I clicked on it right here, it's going to put a trigger of 20% above and a stop loss of 10% below. Means if something happens and it goes a different direction than I want, I will lose no more than 10% because it'll trigger my stop loss, or should trigger my stop loss, and flatten me out of the trade. A good thing about Thinkorswim is after I enter into this trade and my order is filled, I can move those around. I can click on the stop loss and I can move it up like a manual trailing stop. I can move it all the way up to where I went in at, so that even if it drops down, I won't lose any money. And if it's climbing quickly and I want to make a little extra, I could always move my 20% up so that it triggers at a higher percentage. But all those things are movable after you enter the trade. Now, if you enter into a trade and it is not yet filled and you want to get out of it, you can hit cancel all. It will cancel all orders that are pending. Flatten now reverses your position. I use it sometimes, but you can think of it like an emergency exit button as well. Let's say you've bought 10 contracts and then you bought 5 more contracts, or you've got, and then you buy 5 more. So you've got 3 separate orders out there totaling 20. If you click flatten now, it will completely flatten you out of the position, meaning that it will sell all 20 contracts at market value. It'd be just like hitting sell market. Except if you're into a trade and you've got the quantity set for your last 5 contracts that you bought, and you hit sell market, it's just going to sell those 5 contracts from your last bid. Flatten now will flatten you out of everything, take you back to zero as far as any activity in the market. Another thing, we need to make sure that auto send is selected. If auto send is not selected, you will get a confirmation, basically like, hey, this is how much you're putting out there. This is how much it's going to cost you. This is what our commission is. Are you sure you want to exercise this trade or execute this trade? And then you would hit either delete or send. I am always sure that when I click one of those buttons or one of my hotkeys that I'm doing exactly what it is that I want to be doing. Okay, so, and I'm all about speed. So auto send needs to be clicked. It'll skip all that. It will just execute your trade immediately, which is good. Faster is better. Let's see what else. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, and this is the setup that I use daily. Again, I use TradingView for my indicators and stuff, not meaning that it's better necessarily, because all the indicators that I use on TradingView are available on Thinkorswim. It's just, I don't know, I've got used to TradingView. I got into it and ended up buying a subscription, and it's just something that I use. So you don't necessarily have to go out and buy that, especially if you don't know anything about the indicators. I educated myself almost exclusively on Thinkorswim through their education and reading about the different types of indicators and what they do in the market, or what they reflect in the market. Before I did anything, I didn't buy a subscription to TradingView and then just put a bunch of indicators down and hope that would tell me what I needed to know. You have to know what the indicators are showing you before they can help you in any way. It's also good to learn about the candlestick patterns. I know some people that could probably just look at the candles and tell you exactly what it's about to do. I know I know enough to get by, but I'm not that good. But it's also good to know about the candlestick patterns, like your dojis or and stuff like that. Just looking right now, a lot of times they are a good indicator of change in direction. This is a doji, and there's a little change in direction. Okay, and then we start going up, and there's a doji and a change in direction. So again, it's just good to know what these are called and what they can show you. Also, another, I don't know if we can bring it up on this or not. I'm not going to try it, but I know if you look up the stock ADD, Alpha Delta Delta, that gives you an overview of the entire stock, the entire stock market in its entirety, as if it's going up or down. It takes every stock in the entire stock market and basically makes it into one chart. So you can tell whether or not the stock market is fluctuating up or down or sideways or whatever. That's always good to look at on the side. Since we're trading SPY almost mirrors the entire stock market, just because of what SPY is. But it's a little different. So it's good to look at the ADD as well. Since we're outside business hours, I can't execute a trade, or I would show you how to do that. But basically, when you believe that the stock is going up, you would execute a market buy or buy the ask. The reason that the buy the ask and sell the bid is on here, it's going to be at a little different, normally at a little different rate than the market, but it reduces slippage. So sometimes when you buy a market, you get slippage. Sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive. If you don't know what slippage is, you can go within Thinkorswim and look that up, or you can go into and just Google it, like stock slippage, or Investopedia is really good to learn on. But if there's any term that I use that you don't know, you can look that up. It might be beneficial to you. But sometimes buying the ask and selling the bid does reduce slippage. Sometimes buying the market, selling the market's fine. It just depends on your personal preference. I know that some traders don't even have sell market and buy market on here. They've just got the buy the ask and sell the bid. I don't necessarily agree with that, but again, it's more of a preference. They make a good point. All right, well, I hope that at least gets you this far as setting up Thinkorswim in Active Trader to efficiently trade options. This is the quickest way that I know that I have found to be able to execute trades with options. If you know of a quicker way or a different platform that's faster and more efficient than me clicking the mouse button one time, please let me know. Like I said, I'm all about speed, and when you get into this, you'll see why. I've executed trades on options in seconds as far as opening and closing them. Again, if you are going to do this, be careful. Never risk more than you're willing to lose. If you do not have $25,000 in your Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade account, whatever you want to call it, you are limited to 3-day trades a week or every 5 days. But it's still not bad practice. We've got Thinkorswim's paper money opened up, so just as the real stock market's going, you can have imaginary money. And I highly, highly recommend that you start playing with this before you start playing with real money, especially if you put in $25,000 so that you can day trade. So again, learn all that you can. I'm still learning. You'll never stop learning. This is one of those things that you'll never truly master. I promise. There's always more to learn. I mean, I've got a pretty good system down, and I'm happy with it, but I'm learning things every day. And I hope that you guys find interest in this. I hope that this video has been at least partially easy to follow, and I hope that it helps you get set up in trading options. All right. Well, until next time, until you guys need something, and if you do, just message me and let me know, and I'll make a video, or if you're interested in watching some live trades, I can do live streaming, or I can make a video of it, or whatever you guys want, whatever you guys are comfortable with that you think that would help you out. I'm here for you. But until then, skål.